Saxon Math 7-6, lesson 108. Today's topic is called transformations. This is a topic in geometry that has to do with how we can move shapes to reorient them. And what I'm going to ask you to do is go right now and rattle around, maybe in your recycling bin. That's where I found mine. Here's what I did. I went and found this postcard. It's kind of card stocky. It's not really a postcard. It's a mailer. It's from Western Washington University. It was sent to my oldest daughter because she graduated from there. It's asking for money. We threw it in the recycling. I'm sorry, Western. That's just the way it is. Here's the front so you can see. WWU Give Day 5/28/20. Thank you, say the students. Okay, that's cool. So what I did was I folded it in half. And now I'm going to cut it from corner to corner, and I'm going to keep this side, which is going to be two perfectly matching triangles. Ready? None of this has to be perfect. I'm not measuring anything. Actually, they turned out a little crooked. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stack them together, and I'm just going to go this way now. And notice I'm cutting them both together. That way I can't screw it up. Okay, now I have two triangles that are more or less the same. I'm going to use this side of them because I can see them a little bit better. Can you see them? Yeah, sort of, kind of. You can. Okay. So here's the way we're going to start. We're going to start with basically one triangle lying down and one standing up. Okay? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to move the paper out because I don't think that's helping. And even if you can't see every little bit of the triangles, you'll be able to understand. You'll see enough of them that you can tell. So this one's lying on his long back and this one's standing up tall. We can look at these two triangles and we can and little kids would say this, well, these triangles aren't the same. We know that they are the same because we created them at the very same time, but because we can kind of mentally move them in our brains. We have spatial skills that we can use. And what we're going to do is learn the geometric words that relate to these spatial thoughts that we have. So we can see that if you take this triangle and turn it like this, it's going to help a lot. That is called rotation. And I'm going to write these words down for you in a minute. But that's called rotation. I kept this one. It was like this, right? See my finger over here? Maybe you can't, but I've got my finger at the corner. And now I'm just moving that triangle while keeping that corner in the same place. I slid it a little bit so it would be in camera range. But this corner didn't actually move anywhere. I just turned the two. That's called rotation. I rotated it. Now we're going to slide. I'm going to slide this one, the one on the left, toward the other one, but then I'm going to pull them both into the middle so you can see them. That's called translation. That's sliding together. And then the third thing that I can do that's going to prove that they're the same size triangle is I'm going to do what's called reflection. I'm going to reflect the left triangle onto the right. And now I can see that they're absolutely the same. Okay, so let's do it again quickly so that I don't put you to sleep. It started like this, right? First, we rotated, turning just the one point. Then we translated and we slid them together. And then we reflected. Made a sandwich out of them. Okay, perfect. So that's what John is showing you in the book. And now I'm going to draw what we just did. And it'll make a little more sense. First, we keep this the same and we bring this up. And that's called rotation. Okay, and so then they were like this, right? This one stayed the same the whole time. Then we slid this one over and we called that translation. And then they were right next to each other, face to face, right? And we folded this one over, and that was called reflection, kind of like in a mirror. All right, so remember that the reason that we're doing this is that there are times when we want to prove that two triangles are the same. The special word that we use, instead of equal, we say congruent. We want to prove that these two triangles are congruent. So we rotate, translate, and reflect. Shouldn't have an S there. And we reflect, and what we end up with is the two triangles stacked on top of each other. I'm going to show you. There's two of them there, right? Okay, so what I encourage you to do is go to your recycling bin, find your own equivalent of this. It took me, as you saw, 2 seconds to flip it out, and then just play with it, create this same pattern of pictures. It's also in your book, but you can pause me right here if you want and go get your garbage. You can use any paper, it doesn't matter. Just don't make it a lot of work for yourself. That was my point. Just grab something. And play with making these different moves. Again, I'm going to tell you this. It's one thing to listen to me say it. It's another thing to listen to the pictures yourself. But to actually do it, the act of moving your hands and cutting this and rotating the pieces yourself cements the understanding much deeper into your brain. Movement helps our brains hold on to ideas. That's why when you just sit and listen to somebody talk blah, 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 it's easy for it not to stick. Actually moving your hands, moving your body in some way will change the way that it changes the chemicals in your brain, and it makes you hold on to information longer. So play around with this. You'll remember, and someday when we bring it back up again, you'll be like, oh yeah, I remember this. Because it will come back, trust me. Okay, that's the end of lesson 108. Goodbye.